Hello, I'm Sam Candy from Candy Consulting. Welcome to the Sustain Talks. Today I'm joined by Tiia Sammallahti, CEO and founder of whatimpact.com, a social impact tech for good business. Hello, Tiia.
Hello, Sam. Nice to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here. Why don't you tell everyone a bit more about What Impact?
Yeah, so whatimpact.com is a marketplace for anybody who is giving resources to charities and social enterprises. So we have profiles for companies, grant makers, organizations who are called supporters, who have money, skills, product or services to donate, to then recipient organizations which are charities or social enterprises. We are located in the UK, and our profiles for these organizations are quite extensive. So we have a lot of open data on the profiles, whether it's from Companies House or Charity Commission. We cover England, Wales, and Scotland in terms of charities and grant makers, and all the companies in the UK, whether they are on the supporter side or recipient side as social enterprises. So on our platform, these organizations can actually find each other. They can match. So the recipient organizations can apply with their profiles to any offers that the supporters are making. And we really streamline the application process. There are due diligence tools. We have really nice social impact reporting tool, which then the recipient organizations fill within certain time period to report back to their supporters. We also have different kind of video features and lots of content that can be then shared in internal and external communications, regardless are you the supporter or recipient.
Yeah.
So we call ourselves like a LinkedIn of CSR, I would say.
Yeah. A bit of a matchmaker as well.
Little bit Tinder elements included. Yeah.
Swipe right for your social impact, right? Tell me, because you're fairly new business, a few years, right? How did whatimpact.com, how did it start up?
Yes, so the idea of this marketplace has been live for so long. I mean, since 2007. So it was the time that, we didn't know much about Facebook. It was starting and all these kind of other social medias. But I have founded a platform called whatcharity.com, which was like a corner piece of What Impact in 2017. And we only had charity profiles, but we really kind of dug deeply into charity sector. And we started using the open data. It was like a TripAdvisor for charity sector, really. Yeah. And we practiced with charities, and then we matched company resources with them in more kind of manual manner using our platform and kind of learning how these matches should be made, what are the due diligence that need to be done, what kind of impact reporting should be done, and so forth. And then when we'd been operating a few years, we then started collecting money from angel investors, social impact investors, and also we got a quite extensive Innovate UK innovation grant for this, and then we built this two-sided marketplace. So we've been operating in the sector since I actually started working full-time 2015.
Oh, wow.
And so we have worked with charity sector organizations, umbrella organizations. We have done lots of research. We publish white papers, different kind of articles and so on. And we actually possess quite a lot of information on the gaps in the supporter recipient market, whether it's companies giving or grant makers giving. And we've been doing lots of activities in the field. So now, new platform since last December. We have amazing companies joining, big construction companies, different kind of specialist companies, small and big, who want to donate something, whether it's grants, they are giving skills-based volunteering packages, product and services, and now the system really works. So
and it's so relevant. Every single person I speak to talks about social impact. Tell me from your point of view, though, what your views around social impact and how it fits into today's world.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't have a social mission in your business, you are just there to, let's say, make money, and that's the only thing, you won't be alive in the future. That's the thing. I mean, it is so important nowadays for customers, stakeholders, anyone, employees, that there is some kind of a social mission, and social can be also like an environmental mission involved, that what is the thing that you want to improve in this world. Yeah. And it's just something that, is like a strategic bit of the company, and it's not just some external activities that you do a little bit here and there to build your reputation. It has to be really kind of part of your everyday operations and intact with anything you do, that you are a responsible business. You constantly think about improving the world, and that means that even it goes to your product and service innovation, because obviously you want to build that kind of product and services that would have a good social impact. They would improve the quality of life, quality of people living in the society environment. And then you can also start collaborating with charities and social enterprises and these kind of social value organizations in terms of even improving your products and services, because they possess so much information. So we are very much talking about shared value partnerships, where actually, the companies are benefiting for working with charities and social enterprises, not just giving something because they are philanthropic or charitable and looking down on something and say that here you go, we have a little bit of extra because we made so much money.
Yeah,
it has to be mutually beneficial partnership, and then it can really enhance the business of the companies. But also then, there are lots of resources that can be flown to social enterprises and charities, and they can also formulate trading partnerships together. And that harness the supply chain power into doing good.
Yeah, I mean that it's got to run through the company's veins, right? They need to have a good understanding of that charitable strategy. Why should companies have a charitable strategy? What is it that
Yes. So like I said, that it's not just actually even charitable, because it's just like you kind
everything.
of it's just that you're caring, you have this kind of social mission, although you're selling of course some kind of product, but it has to be linked with somehow that you are actually improving the society, the quality of life on this planet. You cannot deteriorate that when you're producing something. So that kind of comes naturally then kind of these kind of partnerships with social value organizations, whether it's a charity, social enterprise, some kind of a community group or other. But why companies do this inherently is that it's improving their business, because the more you kind of deliver value to your society, the more people are interested in buying your services. So it is about reputation building. It's about getting more clients. It is about improving, your work environment. People want to work for you. So there are so many economical benefits for companies that exceed these, donations or these whatever the partnerships might take from them. That the companies, in many academic journals, what we've been reading, it stated that companies who have a proper CSR strategy and this kind of a social value proposal, and they're doing activities, they value as a company might be 4 to 15% more than their peer companies in 15 years' time. That is really adding the value of the company and also productivity and all that, because people who are working for the company are just motivated, because they are not just working there to get paid and make money for someone. They understand that with our products and services, we are actually improving the quality of life on this planet, whatever that might be. And that motivates people, because every person as an individual, they want to be helpful and useful. That's in us. People are, hardwired to help. And that's why it all comes down to the individual in the company although there might be a company strategy around this, which might be linked with the return of investment, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because the more company gets return for their social investment, the more they invest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more the society benefits.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah, I have this conversation all the time, and you know, it brings workforce together, and you know, if you're doing good, it makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why there's kind of nothing wrong. It's smart in organizational level, like company level.
Yeah,
you have a strategy which has return of investment goals. You want to achieve certain things through your social impact investments, which are, you know, you put money into volunteering programs, you build this grant program, you might be giving services, product donations, and so on, and partner with organization. That is a strategic choice, like commercial philosophy, and you have certain goals, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to the individual, there is quite like philanthropic, you know, kind of spirit there in every individual. And then, you know, of course, it's important that when you are partnering with organizations, they are that kind of organizations, and the impact and the stories, what you then get back from these investments are resonating with your employees and stakeholders, that they find them important and interesting and so on. So then you benefit on the individual level as well.
Yeah. How, you know, I mean, a lot of companies, I guess, they think of the main charities, but how do you match a company with the perfect charity? What should they be looking for?
Yeah, well, first we start from that aspect that whatever the company does, let's say that what do you do? What's your vision and mission, like as a commercial company? And then you say, okay, what is your social mission as a company? And then, you know, you can start thinking that you define certain aspects where you want to be important and a game changer in this society. That then can lead to different kind of routes of strategic decision making, what kind of organizations you wish to support. I would list maybe 3 different kind of like paths after you define your social mission. You could start thinking about how are you relevant in local level, because every company has certain localities, you know, whether they are branches, whether, you know, their clients are in different places, retail units, whatever that might be, or they win government tenders like construction companies or IT companies in certain area, and they even need to, which is now mandatory, to deliver value for the government, you know, in this kind of like a charitable work in that area. So there's a local aspect to it, that how our social mission is linked to locality. That leads to then, of course, working with more local charities or charities which have like a strong local presence. Then there might be like an industry relation. Let's say you, I don't know, build like, let's say, a website or educational something, and you want to contribute within education. So then you might be thinking that, okay, education, that's a quite big course. There are different kinds, whether education is in the UK, abroad, you know, you kind of think about what is supporting your, again, the company social mission, in terms of that you find then organizations who do that work that you should partner with, because it's industry related.
Yeah.
Then I said that the third thing, what I really encourage companies to also include, that why don't you take some kind of a course that is, it kind of doesn't belong to anyone, because there are so many courses that have stigma around them.
Yeah.
Who says that, oh, AIDS, you know, HIV, that's our cause, or herpes.
Yeah.
Or we've been talking so many times with charities who work with stigmatized causes, and they find it really hard to find, you know, support from companies.
Yeah.
Drug addicts, not really many want to support charities who are helping drug addicts. You know, there are lots of causes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that many of these stigmatized causes are actually very much linked to the staff and stakeholders of the company. Because let's say eating disorders, touching everyone almost, you know, everybody knows someone who has an eating disorder. Drugs, different illnesses and stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're investing into that kind of a cause, you are actually touching more lives, within your organization that you might be touching with some other cause. You know? So that's why I would kind of encourage companies to think outside of the box and see that why don't we take ownership of this topic?
Yeah.
And we are brave enough. We find these organizations and with interesting stories. We talk about the huge impact that they make, and we take the ownership. And this is a very good also brand building practice for companies, because they can really come out like freshly and bravely when they start to work with this kind of a cause that first people are like, what? Why are you supporting herpes? Because 70% of people have herpes on this planet.
Yeah.
And because it causes this and that, but when we're investing this, this improves quality of life, this impact is this and that. And that's what our platform, what impact.com has kind of geared to do, taking into account all these three aspects, like I said, locality, strategic partnerships, like industry related, and then these kind of like causes that you first wouldn't even know of.
Yeah.
And we are matching organizations based on our kind of shared values and certain goals. And also we are recommending fresh kind of partnerships. And everybody has a very extensive profile. And also the impact reporting tool is super extensive, but very full of qualitative data, lots of insight, evidence, stories, testimonials. So when you actually find interesting partners, you can then start to see that what kind of impact that they have created, and base your decision making on the impact rather than some kind of superficial like a knowledge of or awareness of a brand which you might have seen on the high street because they have a charity shop. So we want the most impactful organizations to get the funding, because that's how we are saving this planet, that we focus on the impact rather than who has the best branding or kind of the cutest cause.
Yeah. What are the, I mean, we talked about the stigma of some charities, and actually, I guess, maybe sort of 4 or 5 years ago, mental health was a big stigma, and now you look at the charity Mind and how that sort of that stigma has completely changed, and I guess that charity has got a lot of support now. But what are some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to charity giving?
Yeah, so of course, kind of everybody wants to make a difference, like on the individual level, and also then the company wants to kind of feel that their donation, whatever that is meaningful. Mm-hmm. So then it comes to what is meaningful in size and quantity. So if you give like £10 or £100 to a huge charity, it doesn't, kind of help too much in that sense. Of course, it might be very impactful charity, but kind of nobody's coming to your office and give you a speech because it was such a little tiny drop in the water. So kind of if you want to do something meaningful and kind of build a relationship, maybe have some kind of interaction with the charity that you're donating, it's good to consider that size match. That if you give, let's say, £10,000 for a quite small charity, it's a huge money for them. And they really kind of give you insight what they did with it and so on. But if you give £10,000 for 400 million turnover charity, you probably get a letter saying thank you, So in that sense, that if you want this kind of a two-sided interaction, you cannot request it from certain organizations who have a huge organization operation, big project, lots of big money. If you just give a little, even though it might seem a lot to your company, depending on the size. Then also companies shouldn't decide beforehand that we want to do this, or we give exactly this, or we volunteer that day, we want to have this day, and we want to do this. Because they need to first find an organization that they actually like, whose impact and operations they believe in. Then there has to be some kind of understanding what the charity actually needs. So the companies are making mistake many times that they are saying that 10 people want to go somewhere in environment, then they want to do something between 9 and 3 and so on. So they are kind of defining the conditions. And then the charities are like, actually, we don't need anybody from 9 till 3. We would need from 12 till 6, you know.
Yeah.
So then they're like, we have to accommodate these people because they might be fundraising for us. So maybe we get more volunteers. So 50% of charities have been taking volunteers that they didn't need because and it's not our research. It's this kind of a much bigger organization who delivered this, kind of a research result. And that is awful. Companies are actually using the resources of charity because they had to be hosted. Somebody was looking after their briefing, telling, about their work. So that's why it's very important that you have a conversation, or like our platform facilitates this digitally, that you actually know what they need. You then have an interaction, you match, you have a discussion, you agree the terms. So then you actually do something what the charity needed, and not just, pushing something that you thought that they need. So that's I think a very common then mistake. And then I would say also that companies should, there's no right or wrong in that, but there's one other aspect that companies should think that if they are asking employees to volunteer, fundraise, payroll, whatever the function where it's employees kind of decision, do they give like employees totally, free kind of field of choosing whatever they want to support, or does the company want to kind of guide somehow, that kind of volunteering or charitable activity towards their own like company mission? Or do they keep two things separate, that whatever employees do, and it's like employee driven, they can support whatever they want, and then company has like a more strategic approach, maybe in terms of grants, product or service donations. So that's a decision to make. But if you mix these two, it's going to be quite messy because nobody is the decision maker. And, there is no coherent story. If every single employee, 5,000 people in a company chooses different things, and then you try to pull that story together to your social mission, what is that? Because everybody is volunteering in different places, fundraising for different kind of causes, from cancer to sports to culture to, environment. So those are the decisions that have to be made before you start anything.
I remember a company I worked for a few years ago, and everyone was allowed to put a charity in as one that they wanted the company to support, and then they picked the key ones that everyone had responded, and then we had a vote on those 6 charities. So it was really, I thought, really fair, and really, it meant a lot to the employees, and actually it really got the employees involved in that decision. I think that's quite important to do that. A key thing about charity is and charitable giving is where the money goes. So there's been, there's a lot of talk in the press about what percentage is going to the charity, and how can you be sure that the money you give to a charity is really going to them, and that the percentage is going to the work that you think that they're doing, rather than to the charity owners?
Yes, so there are a couple of kind of misconceptions of this. Of course, at some level you could think that, okay, if 70% of the money goes to the actual charitable activity and then 30% kind of admin and stuff, that would be worse than 90% going to. But it's not that simple, because the impact is what that matters. Because the charity who has, let's say, who would be reporting that 90% goes to the charitable activities, and then we do the main like admin stuff kind of related to the certain activities with 10%. If that charity actually is poor in delivering the work with the 90%, their impact might be much, much lower and smaller than the one who actually organized themselves quite nicely with the 30% and put 70% into the work. So this is not the key indicator at all. So you have to look at the work, what the charity does, and what are the results of the work. Not just like whether it was, did they reach 100 people or 150 people? That's just the scale. But what was the proven change that happened in the life of these people or in their nature or something? Where that this statistic came from? What was the survey research? How was it done? Who conducted it? How do you know that that actually happened? And when you start putting that impact, the change, proven change, direct, indirect change, and the longer term impact into the scale with somebody else, then you're talking. But it doesn't have anything to do with the admin percentage. Of course, I must say that then if you think about like larger organizations, larger charities, which are big organizations, commercial organizations, they are actually selling lots of services. They are not just doing work with voluntary income, that we call it, kind of the donations. They are actually doing transactional. Even universities are charities. There are a lot of healthcare providers who actually, they do all contract work for government, and they are huge ones. Then, of course, if you give these kind of organizations that have big budgets, they might pay quite a lot to their leaders, which is also fair because they are big businesses. They are run by, super professionals. I think that I would look into maybe then the salaries of key people. And then if you have something that you're opposing, that people shouldn't be getting big monies, if they work for charities, then it's your discretion to think so. But then again, we must say that if you have a really impactful organization and you have great talents leading these organizations, wouldn't it be fair that they get paid proper salaries? Otherwise, they wouldn't be working there. Because that's also a misconception that when you work for charity, you should be almost doing it for free. And of course, people have to live too. And we have to have the good talents in the charity sector in order these organizations to succeed. So then again, that it's, of course, people can have whatever kind of opinions about this, but I think this kind of just looking at admin cost or whether 150,000 pounds a year is too big of a salary for a CEO. The CEO, is it, you have to kind of really think about it. That charities who are well led, who have a good admin in place, have proper digital tools, they are organized, they have a data security, other security aspects stuff, they are the ones that you should be donating to. Because they are credible in delivering their work.
Honestly, Tiia, that's such amazing insight. You don't think of what goes into the social impact of a business when they're looking for a charity. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure this is going to be very beneficial for those companies that are, starting their charitable journey and, really starting to think about their social impact. So thank you for your time. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, they can via LinkedIn. Your name's on the screen there. I will
email Tiia, Tiia @whatimpact.com. I'm always responding. And we have, we are landing now lots of client companies, any size. It can be one-man band to 5,000 employees. Our platform product is meant for all sizes of organizations, for efficient, transparent, democratic, and strategic CSR.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you
so much.
All right.
Bye.